If raw intelligence ruled the world, the people running it would be professors with perfect grades and 200 IQ. But that's not what we see. The world is run by people who do three things better than everyone else. They decide faster, they move first, and they build momentum while everyone else is still researching. And today I'm going to show you, practically, how that works. Not as motivation, as a repeatable pattern. A lot of people quietly believe this. I'm not in that room because I'm not smart enough. But the more accurate sentence is usually, I'm not in that room because I don't move like the people in that room. Plato imagined a society led by philosopher kings, the wisest people. That's a powerful ideal. But reality selects for something else: execution, leverage, alliances, and risk tolerance. And once you see the pattern, you stop being intimidated by smart. Because smart isn't the bottleneck. Behavior is. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most arenas don't reward the smartest. They reward the person who can convert ideas into outcomes with the least friction. Management thinker Peter Drucker put it bluntly. Plans are only good intentions unless they immediately degenerate into hard work. The world is full of good intentions. The shortage is follow-through. A Nobel winner, Herbert Simon, warned, "A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention." Meaning, you can drown in knowledge and still produce nothing. So yes, being smart helps. But intelligence without motion becomes a form of procrastination that feels productive. The gap isn't between you and geniuses. It's between people who consume and people who ship. Most people are training for trivia, more videos, more notes, more frameworks, more one day. The people who rise are training for throughput, decision to action, to feedback, to adjustment. That loop beats raw IQ over time, and it matches what psychologist William James argued. Our lives are shaped less by thoughts and more by habit and action. Not what you know, what you repeatedly do. Look at how actual builders operate. Jeff Bezos popularized the idea of a bias for action. Not because action is always correct, because speed creates information. If you wait for certainty, you get outpaced by someone who learns in public. Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn co-founder, is known for the principle: if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you ship too late. That's not a motivational quote. That's a strategy for compressing learning cycles. And Thomas Edison, whatever you think of the mythology, was relentless about iteration. The practical lesson isn't be inspired. It's run more attempts than other people can tolerate. Smart people often protect their identity as smart, so they avoid looking wrong. Builders don't. Builders value data more than ego. This isn't just modern hustle culture. Philosophers saw it. Aristotle's ethics centered on the idea that character is built through repeated behavior, virtue as a practice, not a belief. That famous line, "We are what we repeatedly do," is a later paraphrase of Aristotle's concept. But the point holds. You become your routines. The Stoics were even more direct. Marcus Aurelius wrote about controlling what you can control, your judgments and actions, while the world stays chaotic. That's basically an ancient operating system for execution. And Seneca warned about delaying life. People act like they'll start later, but later becomes never. Not because they lack intelligence, because they lack a system that forces movement. Let's get psychological. Nobel-winning researcher Daniel Kahneman documented the planning fallacy. Humans systematically underestimate how long things take. and overestimate how smoothly it'll go. Smart people are especially vulnerable because they can create very convincing internal arguments. They can rationalize delay at an elite level. I'm still researching. I'm refining the strategy. I'm waiting for the right time. Meanwhile, the less smart person is collecting real-world feedback, and that feedback is worth more than your theories. So the question becomes, how do you build a life that forces execution even when you don't feel ready? Good. Here's the pattern. The top performers obsess over outputs, not vague goals. A goal is, I want to be successful. An output is, I will publish 2 videos per week. I will send 5 proposals every weekday. I will ship 1 product update every Friday. Outputs are measurable, schedulable, and immune to mood. Practical note. Pick 1 primary output for the next 30 days, not 5. 1. On screen. 30 days to 1. Output to track daily. People who rise don't necessarily make better decisions. They make decisions faster, then correct quickly. Use a simple rule. If the decision is reversible, choose in 5 minutes. If it's expensive and irreversible, give it a deadline and decide. Bezos described this as type 1 and type 2 decisions. Most people treat everything like irreversible surgery. Practical note. Start labeling decisions today. Type 2, reversible. Publish the video, send the message, test the offer. Type 1, irreversible. Quitting, major capital, legal commitments. Then speed up type 2 aggressively. Action without feedback is just chaos. Feedback without action is just entertainment. You need a loop tight enough that reality can correct you weekly, sometimes daily. Practical note, build a 3-part loop. Ship something, content, outreach, product, pitch. Measure 1 metric, views, replies, sales calls booked, retention. Change 1 variable next cycle. That's it. Simple, repeatable. On-screen example. Week 1, 10 outreach messages per day to replies, 3%. Week 2, change opener to replies, 7%. This is how non-geniuses beat geniuses. They run more loops. The world respects credentials until a person with proof shows up. A portfolio beats a resume. Revenue beats opinions. Shipped work beats potential. Practical note. Ask yourself, if I had to prove my value in 7 days with no references, what would I produce? Then build 1 proof asset per month. A case study, a demo, a tiny product, A before, / after result, a documented process. This changes how people treat you, without you ever needing to compete intellectually. Philosopher and risk thinker Nassim Taleb talks about skin in the game. You learn differently when you have real stakes. But here's the practical version. Stop making bets that can ruin you. Start making bets that can change you. Practical note. Design small downside, big upside actions. Publish content with a clear CTA, downside. Embarrassment, upside, leads. Pitch 20 clients, downside. Rejection, upside. Contract. Launch a small paid product, downside. Low sales, upside. Market signal plus cash. This is how people move differently. They're not fearless. They're structured. You want something you can run daily, even when you feel behind. Use this. The 45-minute empire block. Every day, 10 minutes. Choose today's output. 1 sentence, 25 minutes. Execute without switching tasks. 10 minutes. Log result. Plus, decide tomorrow's adjustment. No big vision board. No hype. Just compounding evidence. If you do this daily for 90 days, you're no longer trying. You're operating. On screen. 10/25/10 daily. Once per week, do a 30-minute review like a CEO. What did I ship? Count it. What worked? One sentence. What didn't? One sentence. No drama. What will I change next week? One variable. This is where your advantage comes from. Most people never review, so they repeat mistakes with confidence. It's not that the smartest people aren't valuable. It's that intelligence is common. What's rare is a person who can decide without perfect certainty, tolerate looking wrong ship consistently, and let feedback shape them faster than ego. That's how empires get controlled, quietly, by people who move differently. If you want, comment the one output you'll run for the next 30 days. Not your goal, your output. And tomorrow, run the 45-minute block. Now, subscribe and save this video if you are ready to defeat the system